Welcome back, everyone. My name is Reginald Johnson, host of All in the Game, and today we have a Livingstone legend with us. We have Mr. Romus Jeffries, Livingstone class of 1971. Welcome, Mr. Jeffries.
Good morning, Mr. Reginald. How are you doing this morning? My name is Romus Jeffries. I'm a graduate at Livingstone College, 1971, Hall of Famer.
Thank you, Mr. Jeffries. It's so good for you to join the show, and I know we're going to learn a lot from you, and it's just a pleasure for you to be here. So with that, we're going to get started with our first quarter. So, Mr. Jeffries, one of the first questions I want to ask you is, what got you into playing football or sports in general?
Well, basically, Mr. Johnson, coming up in my younger days, we played football. That's one of the things that we had to do to keep ourselves busy back in the day. Basketball, football, cornfield, as we called it.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't really have a for real field, so we played in the street or wherever. By the time we got to junior high and high school, we was good to go.
Yeah. Did you play with a lot of your friends in the neighborhood, or was it different neighborhoods playing together?
Oh yeah, well it was different neighborhoods that played, especially on Thanksgiving Day. We used to have a big Thanksgiving game, and I played with the older guys. People used to come all around Salisbury, Lexington, different areas, and we had this big game, Thanksgiving feast game it was called. So
Mm-hmm.
a lot of people used to get hurt in that game. No pads, I was a young fella, so by the time I got to high school, I was kind of, on top of my game.
Yeah. No, that's good because a lot of times people you had to be pretty good if you got to play with the older guys. When did you recognize that you can play this sport and be kind of successful at it?
Well, I guess just based on, cornfield football, if you walked up and a game was going on, just like basketball, if a game was going on, people want to choose the best players and get the best players on their team.
That's
So
right.
if the game was started, whether it's football, basketball, or whatever, I would get picked right away. So that just told me, in other people's mind, I was good in that particular field, in that particular area, whatever game was going on at that particular time. So
Hmm.
that's kind of where that went back in that time.
Did you have any older siblings or older cousins that you learned from or people in the neighborhood?
Well, the neighborhood game at that time we didn't done by as I went to high school. We didn't really have a football team until 1964. That was our first year of having a football team. So basically, we did a lot of cornfield and that type of thing. But yeah, I had an older brother,
Hmm.
that two older brothers actually that played basketball. One of them was able to play. One had a heart murmur.
Yeah.
He couldn't play high school, so the one that was next to me, he was good. We played together for 2 years in high school. Actually, 3 years in high school because he was 2 years ahead of me.
Yeah.
And he ended up going to Barbara Scotia, All American out at Barbara Scotia. So kind of patted behind him. He was good. He was
Yeah.
good. So by the time I got to high school, I was starting my freshman year. So I was pretty good as well.
Did,
I
did,
came out of high school. I was averaging 29 points a game.
yeah, I saw you got 45 one night. Tell me about that night.
Yeah, it was.
Was everything
That was
going
a night down in Troy. I'm sorry.
was everything going in the
I
basket?
said it was a night. Oh yeah, yeah. Everything was going in the basket. I just had a good hand that particular night. We was playing down in Troy. They had a couple of 7-footers down there. They wasn't as agile as the 7-footers are today, but
Yeah.
I was shooting jumpers on them, and if they come out to try to guard me, then I would go around slam on them or whatever. So my teammates was feeding me the ball, and I just kept pouring it in.
Man,
So I
you were
ended up with 45 that particular.
45. And the thing about it, there wasn't a three-point line back then, was it? It was just straight twos.
It wasn't. No.
Twos and free throws,
Right.
right?
Right. That's
Man,
right. Yeah.
45. What position did you play in basketball?
Oh, I played inside forward, center. Whatever was needed.
Hmm.
Sometimes guard brought the ball down. So I'm 6'3". I was about the same size in high school, about 190, 195 pounds. like the same as I am now. So my weight kind of fluctuates. Right now, I'm around 2'5", 210, somewhere in that neighborhood. When I was at Livingstone, I was about 195. So
195 at Livingstone, and then you were 190 in high school. That's
uh,
pretty. That's pretty good to be 6'3",
right,
190.
right,
Well, how was the
right.
competition at an all black school?
Uh, Competition all black school at Dunbar. We had some good kids. But I guess being that I continued to play with the older guys just coming up. By the time I got to high school, and my older brother was there, he was hooping, so he kind of paved the way for me. So that was kind of eye open by the time I got to high school, and started playing football, came out of football, and got right into basketball. So my freshman year of basketball, I kind of caught on to the game, and the coach, picked up on it, so I could really hoop. So I earned a starting spot my freshman year.
So, which one did you like better, basketball or football?
Uh, they both, I enjoyed both of them, but I'd have to say football, I guess.
Yeah,
Football was probably because I had some scholarships, basketball as well, but football was my dream. Just being able to get out there and play one on one with the cornerbacks trying to cover me and being able to run by them or whatever. Because I was pretty quick too back in the day. But so that was my big enjoyment, I guess.
did any did because those sports pretty much complement each other pretty much when you can play basketball and
Pretty
football
much.
because you're doing a lot of the same things
Right.
but differently. You got to be able to cut. You got to be able to have hand-eye coordination. You, football, you got to
Right.
be able to read defenses. Same thing with basketball. You got to be able to think quickly on your feet. So they
Right.
help out. But Mr. Jeffries, there are a lot of kids now, and they only specialize in one sport. Football or basketball, and that's it.
Right. Right.
But I tell people I don't think that's a real benefit to specialize in one sport. It's like putting all your eggs in one basket. When you do that, if you don't grow anymore or you don't work on your game, then all you are is a basketball player and all you are is a football player. But if you can't adjust, then you just have to. I think you just have to be able to diversify yourself, not only in sports but in life also.
That's correct. Yes.
What who who,
Hmm.
who inspired you in your area in the neighborhood growing up?
Well, I guess Reginald, that wasn't growing up. I guess we had some good high school players. I mean, the high school I went to, which was Dunbar, it's not in existence anymore.
And that's the school. That's the
But
school
there was a
on
lot
Long
of.
Street, right?
I'm sorry.
Is that the school on Long Street?
I was a school on Long Street that got burned down. Yeah. And see,
Yes.
we probably had probably about anywhere between 10 and 12 state championships. And in that gymnasium, we had all kind of basketballs and trophies and everything else. So those guys back in the day that was playing, was an inspiration. I want to be like. For an example, we had a kid named Lonnie Clutch. Lonnie was about 6'6". Now back in that time, 6'6" was a giant.
Yeah.
So we got to pattern ourselves out of certain individuals. We pick up basketball, and back then, there wasn't a lot of outside courts, so we had to make our own court. We would take a basket for an example, a potato basket or whatever, and nail it to a tree and make us a little spot and have a little full court. So, have a little ball about so big. And,
Hmm.
once you get those small balls going in a basket like that, by the time you get to a real gym,
Oh,
you can shoot it. So
right.
that kind of paved the way for me.
Yeah, no, you're right. Because once you
Yeah.
did you have a basket in your neighborhood? I mean, at your house, or you had to go somewhere up people's other houses?
Well, I had one. We had a field goal basket that everybody used to go and play at, like a neighborhood. Well, actually, we had two courts that we could go and play in, which was neighborhood. And, you go and get your pickup games. And like I say, if you was good, you got to play. If you wasn't that good, you didn't get to play. People wouldn't pick you.
Yeah.
So you have to wait your term and get your game, and then when your time comes, then you pick the players that you want to be on your team. So majority of the time I got picked.
Oh yeah. So did y'all have rules like we did too? Like you had to be home before the street light came on?
No, well, that was really a parent thing back then.
Yeah.
Some parents was pretty strict, and other was lenient. It just depended on the parent. I
Yeah.
didn't really have that rule. My parents, we was pretty good kids, so we know what time we had to get home.
Yeah.
My wife lived right up the street from me. So matter of fact, we still married today. And that's about far as I went in the evening. I didn't really, venture off too far. But on the weekends, we kind of got out there a little bit, hung
Yeah.
out on campus, Livingstone. So we used to be over there from time to time. So
So
that's
what,
kind of what we did back in the day. Yeah.
yeah. So was Livingstone easily accessible back then to kind of walk up there and go on campus?
Pretty much, yeah, yeah. Anybody could pretty much go on campus at that time. They didn't have a gate. They didn't have any of that. So you could kind of walk over there, and they used to. Matter of fact, back in the day, Salisbury used to have games. That they used to call them. I can't think of the names that they had, but they wouldn't allow the campus kids to come off campus too much. They would kind of try to jump them. So,
Mm.
but it was pretty rough back then as far as what the neighborhood saw felt about the kids on campus at that time.
Oh, was it like so they didn't like, were they kind of jealous of them or had a resentment towards some of the guys or people on campus?
I think that's probably was some of the case. Like I say that I can't put my finger on the name of that game was, but I know there used to be a lot of avenues and events where kids went off campus and they got jumped by this
Mhm.
neighborhood gang, so they
Yeah.
didn't venture off campus too much.
Oh yeah. So they did venture off. Yeah.
No,
Mm, that's
no,
that's that's interesting. Well,
yeah,
Mr. Jeffries, this
yeah.
has been a great first quarter. We're gonna go to the second quarter in a little bit after we hear from the cheerleaders, and we're gonna talk about your transition to college.
Okay.